Whether you're finishing a new condo, upgrading your rental property, or simply renovating, make Roper's Enterprises your first stop. Quality furniture at a fraction of the price. Find everything for your home and kitchen at low prices. Roper's, your neighborhood store. Value, integrity. Roper's Enterprises, 122 Industrial Way. Your home deserves a quality finish. Visit their showroom or shop online at ropers.ky. Ropers, providing products and services for better public health.
There's nothing like the smell of freshly baked bread. The warm, inviting aroma, the fresh and natural taste. Just like homemade. 100% all-natural, additive-free bread.
Enjoy fresh and natural tasting bread from the iconic Caribbean Bakery. Always delivered fresh to your favorite supermarkets island-wide. Forget the imported frozen and thawed and enjoy our freshly baked selection of quality breads and pastries.
Try our classic white and wheat sandwich breads, coconut and raisin breads, hamburger and hot dog buns, and a great selection of pastries. Feed your family fresh with Caribbean Bakery.
For the record with Ort Connor.
Initiating system.
For information that matters. For the record with Ort Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. It is now my pleasure to have in the studio with me this morning Mr. Mario Ebanks, who is a candidate in the upcoming April 14th general elections. He's seeking to represent West Bay West in our parliament. We're now, today, 22 days away from as a matter of fact, 22 days, 15 hours, 27 minutes, 43 seconds, according to the Elections Office website. So without any further ado, Mr. Mario, good morning. Welcome back to For the Record, sir. How are things going?
Good morning, Mr. Ossie. Good morning to all your listeners and all the wonderful people of the Cayman Islands and those listening around the world. I'm Mario Ebanks, your best choice for a Member of Parliament in West Bay West. Today, you said 22 days to go before the election of April the 14th, and also today, the 22nd of March, is the beginning of mobile voting. Yes. Mobile voting begins today. So again, this is a time where people who are not able to come out to vote for disability reasons can vote at home or go to a central spot at their convenience. I want to encourage everybody to be on the lookout for wolves in sheep's clothing and to not be intimidated. And I'm sure that the police and the election officials are going to be watching very carefully, as well as some of the agents. I heard earlier on before I came here, there was another voice on the airwaves, my opponent, and it just reminded me of what the late President Ronald Reagan said to Walter Mondale in the election campaign. I think it was 1980, maybe. Here you go again. Here he comes again with pure venom, vitriol, lies, and hate. My opponent has had a career in that. He wrote the book on that. He probably has a PhD in that. He called himself doctor. That's probably what he got a doctorate in. But we're all here about, Mr. Ossie and listeners, our campaign, the Mario E. Banks campaign, and my committee in West Bay West. We're all about solutions, ideas, and a better vision. And so that's where we're going to go. Mm-hmm. I sometimes reckon and compare this campaign, and West Bay West in particular, of a David versus Goliath fight. But it's also a fight about comparing an eagle with a snake. And I'll tell you some more about that in a little bit as we move on. But he said that he didn't come to face me in his recorded message this morning on Radio Cayman. He doesn't want to come to face me. He doesn't want to come to face you. But he wants to make these pre-cut vitriolic statements on the radio, packed with lies. He doesn't want to face me. He says that I'm not worth him coming to face in debates. What a nice Christian he is, eh? He's up in church every Sunday, except yesterday he didn't go because he was up until 4 o'clock in the morning cussing out people on a WhatsApp chat group that he's on. And he didn't go yesterday, but he goes to church and he gets up and sings and sings and sings and sings. But then he comes out here and says that people are not worth him debating. What a nice Christian Mr. McKeever is. He talks about misconduct in government, makes up stories about me, goes to neighborhoods and goes to people's homes, the good Christian that he is, and talks about me. But why does he talk about when he was removed from cabinet or executive council then in 1997 because of the First Cayman Bank disaster, of which many West Bayers, many Caymanians lost all their savings or a big portion thereof. Talk about that in relation to misconduct, if you want to talk about misconduct. Also, he was removed from cabinet in 2012, again for major misconduct. And we know about that story as well. So, I am not here to talk about him. I'm here to talk about the future. And I'm here to talk about solutions. But, I can't let things go like this, right? And as I said, he talks about helping people and building the country, but yet in every chat group that he's on, people show me some of the messages he writes to people. Like I said, there was one that I saw that he wrote in the early mornings of Sunday morning, filled with hate and lies and attacking people and destroying people. And even in Mr. McKeever's own neighborhood, the chat group is full of attacks from him and hate. So I just want to say that it seems to me, Mr. O.C. and listeners, it seems to me that my opponent has taken leave of his faculties. I am not a doctor, but I am concerned about him. I think he's becoming senile, and I think he needs to take a break. And I think the people of West Bay West, needs to do him a favor, retire him on 14th of April. He'll be retired with a big pot of money every month as a retirement benefit, probably $12,000, $13,000 a month. But for his own health and mental well-being, he needs to be retired. I think he's really going over the hill here. And as I said, lies and lies and lies, here you go again, has no place in the future of this country. When I had my meet and greet meeting on Friday evening, wonderful meeting, baby, I'll tell you about that. He had the audacity in the middle of that program to go on the Facebook broadcast, live stream, and write a pile of nonsense. Bad spelling, misspelling, lies. He had the audacity to do that. Now, who does that? Somebody who is becoming senile or somebody who is going over the top? Who does that, O.C.? Who behaves that way? The man can't learn. He said he went and got therapy after he had the incident last year with the assault, and he is now healed. He needs to really get healed. He's get back on his knees and get saved, go to his pastor, not to some other pastor, go to his own pastor, Reverend Case, who's a good man. Repent of his sins. He needs help. But, he's the one that is attacking me. Attacking me again. And I see he's having a meeting this week where he's going to talk about tax again. He loves tax, income tax. He loves that subject. And he's attacking me about that and he's talking about other subjects. But, Mr. O.C., let us remember, income tax in this country, the last time it was proposed and it was put in place as a proposal, packaged. It was put in place by W. McKeever Bush when he was leader of government business. And he put a thing in place called a community enhancement fee, a good name for income tax. He proposed that and he was pushing that. He was trying to get support for that. But when the people of this country and the business community jumped on him and tore him apart, he came running to me to help him to get out of that mess. And I said, me help you? Don't mess with that. I told you not to do it. So he goes on saying that myself and one of my committee members, Troy Leacock, want to bring income tax. Again, as Ronald Reagan said to Walter Mondale, here you go again. Lies. Cut out the lies. Come and face me. Discuss the facts. Let's talk about the future of this country. And the days of hate, mudslinging, disaster, talking about people are over, Mr. Bush. They're over. It is time for West Bay West to elect new leadership, not just West Bay West, but all across this country. From the white caps of Northwest Point to the bluffs of Cayman Brac, Spot Bay, change must come. Change must come. We had a very good meeting on Friday evening. Okay. And I see that Mr. McKeever, in his statement this morning on the radio, and he talks about autism. I support that as well. I plan to go to the inclusion came on function on the 31st of this month, where they want to meet all the candidates, talk about the issues of autism and learning disabilities. Okay. But it's good to talk about things, Mr. O.C., but if Mr. McKeever and this government, of which he's a part, this premier, Mr. Alden, who once called Mr. McKeever a bumbling old man, remember that? He called Mr. McKeever a bumbling old man a few years ago, right? Mr. Alden, who is now Mr. McKeever's right-hand man in this unit of government. But if Mr. McKeever and this government would stop giving concessions to all these huge developers who are coming in here and put some of that money towards programs like autism, then he could talk. But it's not good enough to go in the neighborhoods and talk about autism. Put your money where your mouth is. Let's move on before I get too hot this morning.
Yeah, you get pretty hot this morning.
There's a lot more pressure and a lot more heat where that came from. But I am trying to keep that lever turned up to the level that my people want, my people deserve. We want to talk about ideas, solutions, and a better vision. Mm-hmm. So we had a very good meeting on Thursday evening at the Leo Ebanks Park in Ebanks Road in West Bay West, a place where Mr. McKeever says, I haven't been before. I haven't been in Butchery Hill before. He obviously hasn't read, if he can read. He obviously hasn't read about me or listened about me or remembers anything. As I said, I think he's probably starting to take leave of his faculties, so I'm not surprised. But, he says that I tried to block that park from being built. Again, lies, lies, lies. Here you go again. We had a great meeting. It was a meet and greet, but we probably had 250 people, including people in cars, and it was a great meeting. And at that meeting, I made a couple of announcements. One of the announcements that I made, Mr. O.C., is that I announced that if I am elected, I will encourage the government as soon as possible to begin negotiations with the government of Cuba. I encourage our government to begin negotiations with the government of Cuba and probably through the UK as well, because we're overseas territory, to try to get a monthly flight between Oral Roberts Airport in Georgetown to the airport in Hirona, Isle of Pines. And that would be a Saab flight, not the jet, right, but be the Saab.
They don't have a runway there to accommodate the jet? Or
they have a runway to accommodate a jet, but the problem is they don't have customs or immigration base there. They have them in Isle of Pines, so no reason why they can't drive for 15 minutes to get to the airport. Okay. But so we can work something out. And I announced at a meeting, a meet and greet on Friday evening, that I will immediately begin negotiations with the government to see if we can get something going where we can start a monthly flight to start with, because a lot of people here from Isla de Juventud, Isle of Pines, Isle of Youth, who will go back and forth, because when you got to go through Havana, it's a real big hassle to do that. And so I announced that. And I also announced, I previously said that if elected, I am going to, as long as the tourism industry remains in the doldrums, I'm going to increase the displaced tourism worker stipend from $1,500 a month to $2,000 a month until the tourism industry gets going again, because $1,500 a month is good, and we appreciate that. But people are still struggling with that, and we're going to look at increasing that to $2,000 a month.
So the flights to Isle of Pines, do you envisage also, because we know that Cubans, and in particular Isle of Pines as well, those persons are skilled in agriculture. We're talking here about, increased agricultural production. So do you envisage also possibly looking for workers from Isle of Pines to come to the Cayman Islands? We know about the Caymanian connections there. I have, family connections in Isle of Pines as well. So would that be something that you would also be encouraging?
Yes. I also announced at the meeting on Friday that we want to help people with English learning language skills. And yes, to answer your question, that would be one of the positive benefits from that program. Yes. You got people with Caymanian connections. They may have English deficiencies, English skill speaking deficiencies, but we'll help them with that, help prepare them, help them marry them or match them with employers here and have a smooth transition. So why should we be going to Philippines or other places around the world, far away from here, where we can go right in our neighborhood, in our region, to get good people, people who understand us, people who have the same culture and the same climate and everything else.
And in many instances related to us as well.
Exactly. So that's part of it.
We do have a caller. Let's grab the phone lines. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record. Do you have a question or a point for Mr. Mario?
Good morning, Mr. O.C., and good morning to Mario Ebanks.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. This is Sonia Pearson. This is Mario Ebanks' sister.
Okay.
And I just wanted to congratulate him and tell him that I'm very proud of him, and he's very brave for doing what he's doing. And he speaks about, it's time now for change. And I really believe and I know that it is time for change. And I just wanted to share a few words with you and the listening audience on what I believe my brother is in relation to change. So he is charismatic, and he's one who is confident in a positive way without being boastful or egotistical, one that can often make people want what they want and unite them in a common cause. H is for hardworking, an attribute that he's always been and he will always continue to be. A is for accountable, an obligation or willingness to accept responsibility or to account for one's action. Something that our public officials are lacking is accountability. N is for noble. It's honorable, principled, decent, self-sacrificing. These are just a few of the characteristics that best describe my brother and the candidate for West Bay West. G is giving. This is a characteristic that we should all aspire to hold, and without expecting something in return. E is for equality, something that we all try to aim for. It's enough of hearing the same phrase of the rich is getting richer and the poor is getting poorer. So let us all vote for change and aim to be on the level playing field and be equal. No one should be better than the other person. So, my friends, this morning, and let us all look around and realize that things have gone on for far too long. And on April the 14th, 2021, I'm asking and pleading with everyone in West Bay West to put your X against Mario Ebanks, his name.
Thank you, sister.
And let's make that change.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. We're going to try to grab one more call before we throw the mic back over to Mr. Ebanks. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record. Question or a point for Mr. Mario?
Morning, OC and Mario. Roger here.
Morning, Roger.
Here again.
Hi, Roger.
Morning, Mario.
I have to call you to...
some message to try to get in touch with you. I want to ask you a few questions about certain things.
I know. I will call.
Busy, tied up,
I will call you. I will call you later. I have you on my list, Roger. Don't worry. I'm going to call you or come see you, my friend. Don't worry. We can do that. Okay?
Yeah, but let me just say two of the few some of the important things right now. It's not going to take long. I was always for what I'm looking forward to is a categorized minimum wage. Because Jude Scott ran on that years ago. I voted for Jude. He didn't get in. But that's what we need to introduce here. We don't have to follow the United States rest of the world about doing things. We need to start doing things the way that we do things and teach somebody else something.
Agreed.
Okay, man, there's more common sense and anybody else in the world.
Yeah.
We come from different mix of people. And we're not fools. That's one thing I would like to see.
Agreed.
The other thing I would like to see is just to get some revenue for government. I mean, a lot of people hate meters, but you remember years ago we used to pay a hate tax? In about 18 years ago, I had to pay a $10 hate tax every year. You remember that?
Mm-hmm.
I think that should be introduced again and make it $25 for about 018. That's a good saving for emergency purposes. And I wouldn't mind paying $25 a year. I mean, that's no problem. I mean, I don't think anybody would have any problem with that. But that's a good way of making some revenue to store for hard times. Like you're paying a stipend now. You know, things will continue to happen. And the decriminalization of marijuana, I'm 100% for. And those are three important things. But there's a few more things I want to talk about, Mario.
I'm coming to see you.
Call, and then we'll talk, all right?
Okay, brother. Have a good day. I'm coming to see you. I'm sorry I haven't come or called yet.
No problem. I know you're busy.
Thank you, my friend.
All right, cool.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Mario. This half an hour goes so fast. We're going to have about 9 minutes left, so we're going to close the phone lines off so that Mr. Mario can get to his agenda again.
Thank you very much. I appreciate those callers, and I appreciate my little sister Sonia.
Yes.
For her little poem there. It's very, very well done. She's very talented. In our previous discussion, Mr. O.C., you and I talked about a number of topics so far. We talked about human capital or talent management and development. We talked about developing a new category of permanent residency. And we talked about adjusting the point system for PR or permanent residency that deals with real estate.
Yes.
And because, as we said, that now has 30 points for real estate. And the point that I was trying to make was that there is a disadvantage that Caymanians are being placed in when all the affordable land is being bought up. So we need to look at that, and if elected, we're going to look at the immigration infrastructure in general, but also that point system as well, because it may be that the real estate points remain, but we escalate or we increase the level. So maybe we set a minimum price for a house that the PR applicants have to invest in to get the points, and also a minimum of value for raw land as well. So they're not buying up all the affordable homes and affordable land where young Caymanians are not going to have a chance to own or buy anything. So we need to look at that. But again, those are the kind of ideas and solutions and vision that we're talking about in this campaign and going forward if elected. Not about mudslinging or lies or the like. We're about solutions. So I want to talk a little bit this morning about a couple of district issues too.
Okay.
And I talked about previously about the hurricane shelter and a multipurpose civic center, multipurpose hall in West Bay. My opponent has been there for 36 years. And West Bay, one of the biggest districts, don't have anything like that. Now, we don't have a hurricane shelter, a proper hurricane shelter. We've got to use church halls. We've got to use whatever place we could find. We have nothing. We have no high ground that is reserved where we can park emergency vehicles so that when, after the storm subsides, we can then deploy those assets. We have none of that. But yet he wants 4 more years to be the Speaker of the House. And, one of the things that I want to also push for, and it's in our agenda for district, is that having more services in West Bay where people can have the convenience of going out and getting things done. They don't have to go to Georgetown to get everything. It also relieves traffic. And some of our elderly people, they really don't have the wherewithal they're afraid of all the roundabouts and all that. So they can stay in West Bay. West Bay has a bank, obviously, has a number of good stores. We used to have the telephone company used to be there. People could go to Flow or Digicel and do their top-ups and get their phone service and pay their bills. That's no longer there. We need to have some place where they can do that, where they can go and properly pay their electricity bill. We have a post office that can offer more services. The clinic also can do more. So our plan is to see where we can increase the services in West Bay, the commerce in West Bay, and make it more convenient for our people, especially the elderly, and also to relieve or reduce traffic on the West Bay Road. All that's good, positive stuff, and that's where we want to go. As I said about the hurricane shelter, I know you have been in government for a long time, and you know how some of this works. But we need to have that. We need to have a proper hurricane shelter. There's no reason why we can't. We've had an area that runs from Fountain Road, which is Bosun Bay Road, behind the John Cumber School, all the way up to Stadium Drive, Butchery Hill Road. That's been filled with millions of dollars of cost. I think we've had ground broken twice for a civic center, had designs done, and we had, but nothing has happened. It's still just rocky ground there. We need to address that. And I mentioned about the services in West Bay. When Honorable Thomas Jefferson was Minister in charge of tourism and transport, and when Mr. Hanson Philip Ebanks was in charge of traffic in the police, they put in place a vehicle licensing bureau in West Bay, and that served us well. We need to make it a bit bigger, but served us well. So that's the kind of thing we're talking about, looking at how we can make it more convenient for our people, how we can make it better for our people. I don't know how much time we have left, but I just want to talk.
About 5 minutes.
About 5 minutes. Okay, that's good enough. We can handle that. I want to talk a little bit about the eagle and the snake this morning. One of the scriptures that I rely on throughout my life, one of my favorite scriptures, and I'm also relying on it, leaning on it, dwelling on it during this campaign is Isaiah 40:31. And it says, "But those who hope in the Lord will renew their strength. They will soar on wings like eagles. They will run and not grow weary. They will walk and not be faint." It's a wonderful, wonderful scripture, Isaiah 40:31. But that scripture talks about the eagle. Let me tell you a little bit about the eagle. The eagle does not fight the snake on the ground. It picks the snake up into the sky and changes the battleground. And then it releases the snake into the sky. That snake then has no stamina, no power, and no balance in midair. The snake, after released by the eagle in midair, is useless, weak, and vulnerable, unlike when it is on the ground, in the dirt, where it is powerful. But it is also deadly on the ground. But in the air, it is totally disabled. So my message to our people, my message to myself is, don't fight the enemy, the political enemy in this case, in his comfort zone. Change the battleground, just like the eagle takes the snake up in the sky. If we do that, our victory will be assured. You know, I didn't come into this campaign for mud. I came into this campaign for solutions. I came into this campaign to fight for children and young people and current people, of course, and the elderly. But solutions. When I walk through West Bay and West Bay West, and I've done it for years, although my opponent doesn't know that or doesn't want to admit that, I hear people talk about what they want and their concerns. And these things have been around, as you said this morning on the radio, on your thing, it's been around from 1965. We still haven't addressed those yet. I also want to invite our public to go on our Facebook page. Our Facebook page is Mario for West Bay West, or Mario for WBW. And I want them to listen to the facts. I want people to call me if they have any questions, if they hear anything out there, because you know what happened to me the last election? The last election, we went around to every house that we could. I was in West Bay, it was the entire district, right? Okay. As soon as we go, they would come behind us with lies. We couldn't keep correcting it quick enough. And I said to people, in the after election, people said, well, they came and said this. And I said, why did you give me a call or find me and ask me? You know, all kind of ridiculous stuff. They even said I was a lodge member. I'm not a lodge member. Never have been, never will be. But they said I was. And so I want people to, let's talk about uniting the country, not dividing the country. Let's talk about solutions. And I also want to invite people to our public meeting that we're going to have this Thursday, the 25th of March at 7 p.m. at the Club Inferno or Hell parking lot. We're going to go all the way to hell to give our message out of positive change. That meeting is going to be broadcast live. There'll be refreshments. And we're going to have a very, very unique T-shirt. You've seen nothing like it. We're going to have that. That's going to be distributed at that meeting. I want, though, before we close, to leave our public with another scripture from Joshua chapter 1, verse 9. And I am also commanded by this, and I want people to be encouraged. It said, "Have I not commanded you? Be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid. Do not be discouraged. For the Lord your God will be with you wherever you go." Thank you, Mr. O.C. Thank you, the people of this island. Thank you, West Bay West. Victory is in our sight. God bless you all.
Folks, that was Mr. Mario Ebanks, a candidate in the upcoming April 14th general elections. He's seeking to represent West Bay West in our parliament. Please stay tuned for the record. We'll be back shortly where we will have Mr. Wayne Panton in the studio.
Did you know that defective airbags can cause serious injury or even death if not repaired